Hey, hi, and howdy, sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. My name is Courtney, and I am a stay-at-home homeschooling mom who loves to cook. My channel really does focus on food and kitchen-related content, from grocery hauls to cooking videos. I've got a lot of holiday cooking that I've done, and that is coming up, and I'm super excited to share it, plus just regular grocery hauls and what's for dinners and meal preps. If you like that, make sure you stick around and hit the subscribe button. But also please do me a favor and hit that like button, just because it kind of helps my video get out there a little bit more in the YouTube universe. All right, this week's theme is quick and easy meals because it was Thanksgiving week and we are all super busy. It's the holiday season, y'all, and everybody has so much stuff going on. We don't have time to cook, but none of us want to pay for fast food anymore because it is ridiculous how much it costs. So we've got to find a solution, and that is quick and easy meals that your family's going to love, and that's what I've got this week. We're kicking it off with paella. I've made it before on my channel, and I'm probably going to make it again because I think this is a fabulous dish. It's so easy and simple, and it can use up all kinds of stuff in your fridge and freezer. I'll link the original recipe below, but keep in mind you can switch up the meats. If you just want to do sausage and chicken and no seafood, go for it. You could do a whole bunch of veggies and have a vegetarian paella. You can follow the recipe and make it more traditional. It really is up to you. Go nuts with it. Just use the recipe and the idea as a base and run with it. So I cleaned out my fridge and freezer this week and had some stuff I wanted to use up, and that's how I decided to make this meal. I started off by dicing up an onion, and I'm sauteing it with a little bit of bacon grease for added flavor. I threw in 1 rope of smoked sausage. Traditional paella is, of course, a chorizo sausage, but I didn't have like the links of chorizo sausage. I did throw in half a tube of the cacique chorizo it's really soft and mushy, and it kind of melts into everything. And that just added so much amazing flavor. I also tossed in some Roma tomatoes that I diced up and some of my confit garlic. You could use regular garlic or garlic powder here. I do make my own confit garlic, and it's my favorite thing in the kitchen. I love it. If you like roasted garlic in the oven, this is like next level because it's always on hand, ready to go all the time. But it's so easy to make. I do always keep that video linked down below in the description box. So if you're curious, give it a watch and try it at home for yourself because you are going to love it. Next, I added in some rice. Of course, you're supposed to use short grain rice, but guys, if all you have is plain old long grain white rice, just use that. That is wonderful. Rice is rice at the end of the day. It's going to be fine. You might just have to adjust your cook time. All right, we're going to season this with just a few things because there's already a lot of flavor with the chorizo and the sausage and the onion and the garlic, but I am adding in some salt, some pepper, a little bit of additional garlic and onion powder never hurts, and I threw in some smoked paprika just to kind of like add something extra in there, that rich smoky flavor with the pepper. And you're supposed to add in chicken broth, which I don't ever keep on hand, so I added in water and chicken bouillon. Then I tossed in a little white wine to kind of brighten this up a little bit, but you could always just use lemon juice or took it all the way through and just squeeze some lemon juice over the top when it's done. It just brightens it because this is really rich and deep, and that just kind of adds a little something extra in there that brings it all to life. It's just beautiful. I finished it off with some dried parsley. If you have fresh parsley, just toss it on at the end, but I just keep the dried stuff on hand, and it just kind of adds a little bit of earthiness to it. It's so good. Cover it and let it simmer. And then if you're using seafood, when it's almost done, you can see that the water's almost cooked out. We're going to add in our seafood because it cooks super, super fast. I got this bag of peeled, deveined, cleaned, tail-off shrimp for $5 at Walmart. I thought that was a really great price, so I picked that up, and I already had the mussels in my freezer, which is why I was making this to begin with. So I'm going to toss those in, lid on for just a couple of minutes, and dinner is done. I served it with some garlic bread that I made from scratch, just butter, confit garlic, parsley, slapped on some French bread, and baked in the oven, and dinner was served. All right, y'all, I want to take a minute to thank DOWAN for sending me this amazing product and to share it with all of you. If you have been a longtime viewer, you've heard me more than once say that I'm subbing margarine or something because I don't have any softened butter. I often forget to take it out and soften it. But DOWAN came to my rescue. They must have heard me complaining about it because they sent me this adorable butter dish. Y'all, I love it. So this will allow me to keep my butter out on the counter and softened all the time. So that will no longer be a problem for me. And look at it. It is so cute. I love, it kind of has a little bit of that farmhouse look to it. And it looks kind of like old-fashioned and traditional. I just love it. Looks beautiful on my countertops. It's simple and elegant, and I'm just so thrilled with it. So it's really simple to use. All you have to do is put some butter in that little bowl that's attached to the lid there. I did remember to soften this stick of butter. I left it out for a couple of hours, and then I was able to just kind of fill that bowl up with it. And then we're going to add some water to the dish, and the water just kind of forms a seal around that butter bowl that's in the lid. That's what keeps it nice and fresh all the time. It's just an airtight seal that's formed naturally with the water. If you look inside of this bowl, I'm going to show you right here that there is a little line on the inside, and that shows you how much water to add in there. That way you never have to wonder about it. It's already marked for you. Just pour some in up to that fill line and invert the lid so that the bowl goes straight in there, and you are done. And it just sits out on your counter. It looks adorable, and you always have fresh softened butter ready to go all the time. I'm so excited about this. So I just wanted to take a minute and share that with you. I will share a link down below so you guys can get one for yourself. I really am loving mine, and it's been so convenient. As you can see, I did decide to have a little bit of my homemade bread. And what goes better with homemade bread? Nothing but butter, y'all. That's all it needs. So I've got some softened butter on the counter, and I'm just able to spread that easily on there with no issue at all. It was so simple. Yum. Like I said, I will link it down below. All right, y'all, next meal is air fryer gnocchi and sausage. So I've seen air fryer gnocchi all over the place lately, and I wanted to give it a shot. I like gnocchi, and I thought this would be a fun new way to cook it, and it sure was. So I've got my Dollar Tree gnocchi. You guys can buy it wherever you want, but if you don't know, Dollar Tree sells it for $1.25, and you can't beat that price because I do believe it's a lot more expensive at most other grocery stores. So good deal right there. I just make sure all of my little gnocchis are not stuck together, that they're separated. Sometimes because they're very starchy in the package, they kind of glue themselves together. We want to make sure that they're not like that so we can season all the edges and the sides and everything. So you can kind of put in whatever you want. You want an all veggie stir fry or some chicken. I don't know. It's up to you. Maybe just some bacon. I'm doing sausage, pepper, and onion because it just sounded really traditional to me. And I had it all in my fridge. I sliced up my onion and my bell pepper. I'm just kind of breaking up the onion slices there, mixing everybody around, making sure I like the amounts that I put in there. You know, sometimes you might want to add a little more onion or something. This was perfect. Everybody mixed really, really well. And then we're going to cook it in the air fryer. I'm using my Ninja Foodie today. I love that so much. It's an all-in-one. It air fries, slow cooks, pressure cooks. It'll even dehydrate, does all the things. And I love that because I don't have to have a million different appliances. But I will say I do own a second air fryer just because we use air fryers a lot in my house. So I did have to purchase a second one just for convenience. I'm giving this a stir after I add in a little bit of my garlic oil. You can use any kind of neutral cooking oil you want. I just happen to have my garlic oil and I love it. So I added that in. And of course we're going to add some seasonings, but not too many. Some salt, some pepper. Some garlic powder and onion powder are great additions in here as well. And then I'm going to add some parsley just because I think it looks really pretty when you put parsley on gnocchi because it's white and those flecks just really, really stand out. I think it looks great and it tastes nice too. So I'm just going to toss this all around and we're just going to cook this in the air fryer. I will say that if I were to make this again, I would either slice the sausage thicker or I would air fry the gnocchi for about 8 minutes before I add in the sausage and peppers. Just because I felt like, for me, the sausage cooked a little longer than I wanted. But for my oldest son, he said it was perfect because it was crispy and delicious. So I guess kind of decide which way you like it. I like mine a little bit softer. He likes his a little bit crispier. Either way is fine. Just keep that in mind. I did give mine a stir halfway through the cooking time to make sure everybody was cooking evenly and that everybody, you know, had good access to the airflow in there. And that's really all there is to it. You can serve whatever you want on the side. You might even want to put this in a sandwich or something. I don't know. I just served mine with some wild rice on the side because I felt like that was super easy, but also it fit really well in my brain. And we really, really enjoyed it. And it's very fast. Like this cooks 20 minutes or less max. I think I cooked mine for probably about 18 minutes, maybe 15. I can't quite remember. But it's very easy to throw together. The rice almost took longer to make than everything else. So it is that simple. All right, the last meal of the week is beef and potato stroganoff. This is kind of a copycat of the Hamburger Helper beef and potato stroganoff. And I'm going to start off by saying this is not the prettiest meal I've ever made. But let me also add, it was met with absolutely rave reviews from my family. They adored it. They couldn't get enough of it. It was a mega hit. So I started off by browning a pound of ground beef. And then I'm going to add in some onion just to kind of bulk up the flavor. There is a recipe that I found on Pinterest, but I kind of just ran with what was in my head. So I'm just going to list my recipe down below because this was fabulous and my family loved it. I'm just going to let the beef and the onions cook together until the onion is nice and soft. And I did not drain anything because we're also adding these potatoes in there and they need to cook. I didn't have a ton of grease in the pan, but the potatoes do need some grease in order to kind of fry in there a little bit. And I'm using baby potatoes. You can use whatever you want. If you want this to be a meal that cooks in like 20 minutes or less, go with frozen potatoes because they'll be done in absolutely no time at all. I'm just cooking what I had on hand. So I added some salt and some pepper and some garlic and onion powder to this. And then I'm adding in some parsley because I'm adding that into everything this week. I think it's just kind of one of those things I'm currently enjoying quite a bit, so I've just tossed it in everything, and it looks pretty too. Kind of adds a little color to everything. I also topped this dish with it when it was done because it's stroganoff, and stroganoff doesn't have a lot of color to it, and I felt like the parsley flakes just really popped on it, but you'll see that at the end. I did pop a lid on this and let it cook for about 10 to 12 minutes to let those potatoes really get a lot of their cooking done. It traps the heat on the inside and lets them bake and saute at the same time. And then we're going to add some cream of mushroom soup, but if you guys don't know, if you're new, I have stopped using the cream of mushroom soup in the can and I have opted to make my own cream of soup base and then add whatever I need to it. On this particular day, I had some dehydrated mushrooms that I rehydrated in some water. And then I toss it in there and just let that simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes so that the potatoes finish cooking and the mushrooms rehydrate and everybody gets all yummy and delicious. I was testing my potatoes to make sure that they were fully cooked. I always like to test multiple potatoes. You know, sometimes they get in different hot spots, so you get some that are cooked more than others. So I like to make sure that they're all cooked all the way through. They were today, so I'm adding in a bit of my soup base, and I will link the video for this down below. I posted it, I think like a week and a half ago or so. It was a bunch of different pantry mixes that I made, and I'm loving having them. This was fabulous. It was fantastic. It saves money, and it's easy to throw these mixes together, and the cream of soup base has so far been my absolute favorite. So I just kind of mix that in, and as you can see, it just really sucked up all the moisture in there, which is fine. I know that the potatoes had sucked a lot of the moisture up, the mushrooms did, and some evaporated, so I knew I would be a little short on what I needed to make a can of cream of mushroom soup worth of liquid there. So I added in a little bit extra till it was nice and creamy, and then I let that just kind of simmer for a minute or two to heat up the water. And then I added in about half a cup of sour cream because from what I remember, when I make regular beef stroganoff, there's always sour cream in it. So I added some in there and just let it heat all the way through. And this was amazing. This was so good. My family loved it. Like I said, not the prettiest, but taste-wise, off the charts. I just sprinkled a little parsley on top, served it with some green peas on the side. I bet you could throw some frozen green peas inside the dish if you want to. I opted to do it on the side because I am not a fan of peas. And then some homemade bread right there with a little bit of butter on it. And that was dinner. It was so good, y'all. I will list the recipe down below and link the rest of the recipes so you guys can make them at home. That is it for this week's video. I want to thank you so much for joining me here. Stick around. I've got lots of holiday cooking and baking and things coming your way, and I'm so excited about it. It's my favorite time of the year. I hope y'all are having a fabulous weekend, and I will see you soon with another video. Love you guys. Bye.